All right, folks, we're going to be working on the Unit 8 coding exercise. And I don't know that we'll get it necessarily finished, but we'll get a start on it at the very least. There is a lab file here that I'm going to go ahead and download. And right now that's in my downloads folder. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it on my desktop for right now. Anywhere is fine. Right, I'm going to go ahead and open that. I'm also going to bring up here somewhere in a different tab my solution file. And I should probably download that separately, right? That's my cheat sheet, with all the right answers. One of the benefits of coming to class here is having that available. And that one I'm going to open up from the downloads folder. So we have the answers to look at. This does focus on neural networks. Here's the libraries that we'll be using. I know some of these have been problematic for people, so keep that in mind. Okay, we are trusting. I'm not going to execute the other file anyhow. All right. And they give you all this information. They seem to kind of do this every time. Then they give you a little bit of information about neural networks, but we've talked it to death already today. So let's just start running the code, right? And then we'll get to the spots where we'll be adding our own code. I will have to select a kernel. I think I'm just going to use my regular Python environment. And then if it fails, I'll switch, basically. All right, it is attached now. Let's go ahead and run that first box. All right, all good. Thank goodness, right? No, I hate it when the libraries don't load. If you do run into problems, remember creating a virtual environment is kind of an okay thing to do, too. All right, then I'm going to create the data set and look at some of the samples. Here's we got 500 samples. Here's our number of features and a couple of other settings, including some weights. All right, let's run that box as well. Okay, that was pretty quick and easy. All right, with this box, we're going to run and view the data set. It does go off the edge of the screen here, right? But we have, looks like 10 features. So running it. Right. And notice with the previous output that was here, they had it truncated. This shows all the features and all the data, right? So not truncated. All right. So here's where you might want to look back at your examples. And normally what you would be doing is you'd be going to the PowerPoints and looking at how it was done, right? And then trying to research it, yada, yada, yada. But the advantage of coming to class and doing this is I will just copy it from the solution file and share it with you. My concern is mostly that we all get it working. And so here's the code in the chat. And then probably a good idea to look at it a little bit, like what code we're running. We're just setting the split. The test size is 20%. That's kind of interesting. That's a really small test size. And we're also putting in the magic number of 42 as usual. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. All right, so it did it. It ran successfully. Next, we'll do the importing of Keras. I think that's how you say it. Hopefully that works just fine. Pretty big library, you can tell. All right. And it's giving me the module not found. All right, so how do I fix this, folks? Right. And is it all the modules?
I would try and see if it's installed.
Yeah, I think that might not be a bad idea. Um, all right, let's pause the video here for just a sec. Okay, now I'm recording. I did pause it, George, for a second. I'll have to make sure I make this video private because it's a little uh, less formal. Um,
Thanks.
okay, so it's still getting hung up on the plot model. And Kathleen, if I heard you right, you installed TensorFlow and it fixed that? Like instead of doing all this?
Yes, that is correct. I installed TensorFlow and then I also did the from TensorFlow that command I just stuck in there to plot it because
All
I
right,
had a
so
problem with the plot too.
let me go ahead then install TensorFlow. And then that line that you threw in replaces this line, I assume.
Yes, yes,
Okay. All right. I'm going to run it again. Now, I know some of this is already loaded up, right? So this is kind of, some of it's redundant because it says already satisfied. But if we can get that last one to work, okay, looks good. Nope. Still getting an issue there. Now, Kathleen, can I assume that you didn't do this step?
that is correct. I did not do any of that. I didn't,
And you didn't do this either, right? Because
correct,
Keras is part of it. All right.
correct.
All right. In principle, now, Keras is already loaded in memory. So this is might be problem. So I might keep getting errors because all this stuff's already loaded in memory. Um, and I'm still getting no module name TensorFlow Keras. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close the file. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to reopen it. Oh gosh, where the heck did it go? There it is. That's not the correct one. That one. Okay. And I think it kept all my changes, and I don't know if I might want to. Okay. Maybe the better answer is just to restart the kernel. All right. I'm going to do it in a more primitive way. I'm just going to shut down Visual Studio Code and restart it because that will force. All right, and this is maybe where the virtual kernel is a better option. Okay. I think it still has the same issues. We'll find out, right? Worst case scenario is we just do it all again, right? I'm just running it from the start. Most of this stuff is pretty easy. Good. Good. Grab the code from the other file. All right. Why don't we um, add the cell here, and I'll just do the let's just run that. All right, now it looks like it's already loaded in memory, but notice I feel better about it now for whatever reason. Now I'm going to try Kathleen's statement, and I'm going to use that to replace this one, right? And that's how you did it?
Yes,
Oops.
that's correct.
Okay. And I got to be able to copy the code. Okay. And really what we're doing here is we're just getting a hierarchy. And I think it would probably run without that. That's kind of my gut instinct on it. I'll try the run. Yeah, it's still not hitting. Let me try it. Oh, now it's not finding the dense. No, it's still the TensorFlow keras. I think the way that I'm doing it is like this because I have an import statement that yeah, I'm gonna try it like this. Let me see if this works. Okay, now it worked. Okay, I don't know why, but well, actually, I do know why. All right, let's go ahead and initialize the network. That was pretty simple. And what is this doing here? Where's this function coming from? Is this part of the Python libraries, or is this coming from TensorFlow? Yeah, don't worry about not answering it. I believe it comes from the library. That's where it's coming from. So we're just creating a blank. I think we're just instantiating basically a model. All right. Now we're adding the input layer and the first hidden layer, right? And I think this is kind of interesting that we can do this with code. But think about how easy it was to do it in the browser window with the TensorFlow website, right? And that's why that website's so cool. So we're adding first hidden layer, second hidden layer, and the output layer. And then we're doing compiling the, I'm trying to remember what ANN stands for. It'll come to me in about 2 seconds. And then we're going to plot it. So let's just go ahead and run it. All right. And it did, oh, so I got a warning here. Do not pass an input shape to an argument layer when using sequential models before. Prefer using input shape object as the first layer in the model instead. But it ran. You must install PyDot for plot model to work. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to add a cell above. So let's do pip install PyDot.
I got that warning too, to install the PyDot, but the next cell ran without a problem. So I just took it as a warning and kept going. So I don't know.
Fair enough, right? And I don't think that's a bad approach.
Okay.
But you know what? It only took a few seconds to install it. Let's see if
Okay.
it changes the output here. Okay, it still gave me the error or the warning, but now it's a different one. All right, so this is just saying it prefers a different type of input. It doesn't saying it won't work. It doesn't say it won't work, right? All right, let's just go ahead and do the fitting. And I love this output, right? Because it's showing us all the epochs. And then of course it's continuously running. So I'm just leaving it there and you can see it scroll up. And the dot, 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 of course, means and all the rest, right? But I think it's kind of cool. And notice as it runs, how the loss gradually, at least in principle, is decreasing. Well, sometimes it's decreasing. Not really, isn't it? Is the accuracy improving? Not so much, right? All right. Now I'm not sure why I got a blank box there, but let's go look at. All right, so we did all that. I guess there's just a blank box. All right. Let's move on to the next task here. I'm going to keep rolling. We're most of the way through it already, so I think this is pretty helpful to just keep going if you guys don't mind. And I'm just reading the instruction here. 20 input features, 2 output classes. So we need an input layer, 2 hidden layers with 32 neurons, and an output layer, then classify into 2 classes. And all of that is specified here. I'm once again double checking. Yeah, all the settings are the same. Here's the run. No problems. And now we need the additional code to make this work. This is a good one that you guys don't have to type up. Right now, we could use what we had above as an example, right? There you go. Think of how much time that just saved you, or save the AI engine that you would be asking if I wasn't around to do it for you. But I'm also looking at all the stuff that we're putting in here, including the units, the kernel initializer. So you see like 2 hidden layers with 32. We have 10 to start with. That must, I wonder if that's input. Yeah, input dimension is 20, right? Yeah, 20 input features. Okay, that makes sense with 2 output classes. Okay, I'm just examining the code. I like to know what I'm running before I run it. All right, so that worked. You know, it didn't take very long. All right. All right, so now we're looking at the activation functions, and once again, we're looking at these little, wave shapes and plots, basically, with explanations. I have a little YouTube video there. You guys can check that out. Then they look at the learning rate. I think the graphics are pretty telling here. Small learning rate requires many updates before reaching the minimum point. Optimal learning rate swiftly reaches the minimum point. Too large of a learning rate causes drastic updates, which lead to divergent behaviors, which we don't want. That's kind of interesting. And I think the graphic really kind of represents that pretty well. All right, let's go ahead and run the next box. I think that's what needs to be in there. Yep. All right, so let's just do that. We'll run it. And I'm also kind of looking at the code, number of samples, the features, etc., the different weights that we're applying to the pathways. No problem on that. And then here we're making the neural network. So let's go ahead and run it. All right. And now we're going to output it. And I assume there's no additional code there. We just go ahead and run. So here's the output. All right. You guys get the same thing, right?
Yes,
But I did do
that.
yeah, so I did do the install on that. I wonder if I have to do the import on it, but I thought we did that too. So let me just scroll up here a little bit.
I got that same error you got too.
All right, so we did the install. Oh, and notice, all right, you notice what it said? I should use the percent mark on it. Okay, now this is taking a little bit longer, but it does say that it already, you may need to restart the kernel. All right, I'm going to restart the kernel. All variables will be lost. Okay, so what does that mean? I got to go back through and run everything again, right? So, and I'm glad that you guys are kind of getting familiar with that and that you're not like freaking out to it now. It's like, oh, that's just normal, right? All right, so I'm going to go back up and run every box again. All right? I don't need to do any of the imports though, because that's already now added to the kernel, right? So far, so good. I don't need to do the install of TensorFlow, correct? Right. And I think this is why we were getting that error on this too, is because I probably should have used the percent sign. So I'm not going to run that box. If this box fails, I'll go back up and run the previous box, but with a percent sign this time. Okay, good. Set up the model. We don't need to do that. We just did it. So now we should be able to do this. And we are getting an error here. Let's go ahead and run this. And it should just get me already satisfied, right? All right, well, here's the question then. Are we importing it? Okay, so maybe okay. I don't know if that'll make a difference. Let's find out. I'm just doing import. So, I mean, that's already done. Now I'm importing it because just because we installed it doesn't mean we're using it.
Oh, so you got to
Right,
import it.
right.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right. Well, think about like, here, like we import it, and well, these are basically imports also, right? But none of this would work unless I did the install TensorFlow, right?
Got it. Mhm.
Yeah, so that could be the why. Okay, it still doesn't like it. Still does not like it. So this is saying that we need to install GraphViz. So there must be a dependency there, right?
I'm getting a different error. I'm just getting a name error.
I'm assuming it's still running. And most of the times when I get this box and I'm doing it this way, I'm not usually very happy with. Okay, so it's giving me a try except statement here. All right, I'm kind of. All right, I'm going to accept and run. And let's see what happens. Okay, it worked. All right, do you guys want the code? So this, I think, replaces the last line. Although, but it is giving me, okay, so it's giving me some of the output. Okay, and here they have it just all in a different format, so it's like really hard to look at it and know if we're doing the right thing. So this is the solution file, so I apologize for scrolling. Now I'm trying to find the correlated spot in the code. So I'm tempted to try to install GraphViz. It is just simply pip install GraphViz. So I'm going to throw in a code box up here. So let's do this. Pip install GraphViz. My thinking tells me that we've already done this, but no harm done. Let's see if it works. Okay, it's already there. Right. I'm thinking because it's already there, we're okay, right? Is that a fair assumption? Let's add another code box. And then if I want to import it, I'm looking at commands for that. So I don't know if I need the command to import it. I'm actually looking at the documentation from the GraphViz website right now. No, it does say you do. Okay. I'm just going to do an import command. It's not going to hurt anything if it doesn't work. And normally you would select the tools you want to use, but I'm just going to import all of it. Okay, so here goes the run. Okay, worked. Now let's try it and see if it generates something. It ran really, really fast. And it's still, okay. GraphViz PyDot may be missing or incompatible. So I think we know it's not missing. Neither one is missing. So they're incompatible. Continuing, exception. Dot with args, returned code, whatever, which is the same thing that we got here. I'm trying to show you where my eye is reading right now. Yeah, and it says if the external dot executable is missing or crashes, yeah, I think we're just going to move on, folks. We are, I mean, we're not getting the graphical output, but we are getting, you know, numerical output, which means at least part of it is working. Right, and I'm doing this kind of in the interest of time here. It is 7:42. So if you guys need to go, you can go. I'm going to keep rolling on it. May as well, right? Kind of doing the homework. All right, let's run the next box. Hopefully the problems don't propagate forward. Okay, we're just doing more training here. And I think it's kind of interesting, right? Like we're doing the same thing we were seeing in the browser once again, but now the training is happening with code. And we're just letting it run. All right, and it finished 100 iterations. And of course, you know, remember when we were doing it in the browser, we were doing thousands of iterations. So you could set the number to something larger. I don't know why they have blank boxes, and that makes me wonder a little bit, like, are they expecting us to drop something in there? All right. Now we're just using these settings again. These are similar to the ones we had before. Right, I'm really fast. Run the code here. that ran to I'm trying to see if we're in the same spot here. I think we're right. This is kind of where we left off before. I think we're getting there. And this did run, if I remember right. I'm just going to run it again because I'm not sure. All right. Now let's try this. Good. Let's make a neural network here. Good. And this is where we got stuck before, right? So I'm going to run it from here. Cross your fingers. Okay. Doesn't like it. Dot with args returns the error code. Okay, so I'm thinking that. All right, so it's not liking this, right? Right, and all right, so this is kind of an interesting thing. They give you this code, and I guess we didn't try this, right? To just create a blank graph, right? So why don't I do that? And I'll do that here. Yeah, and that's not working. So there's something wrong with those libraries. So I think we're going to cap it right here because I got to figure this out, right? So I'll tell you what, I'll work on it a little bit. If anybody else works on it and comes up with a solution, let me know. I mean, I can lean on AI, but I think it's all about libraries and dependencies. So let's just kind of wrestle with it for a little bit. We still got like, I think like 9 days before it's due. So worst case scenario, we can work on it next week. All right, folks, let's call it a night. I'll see you guys next week or in the next class, whichever comes first.
Good night. Thank you
Night.
so much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Take care.